Hello again, everybody. Zacatech is here with my WWE Raw review for tonight, Monday, June the 29th. Should I say Monday, June 30th, 2014. Last night, June 29th, was Money in the Bank. This was a Money in the Bank aftermath. And after a very fun and entertaining pay-per-view last night, despite the fact Cena won, I can overlook that. At least it was a fun pay-per-view, though. This is probably one of the best Raws since the Raw after Mania. You had 3 returns tonight. You have a new Divas champion. And a lot of seeds are planted for possible matches at Battleground. And also, if you can look farther ahead, SummerSlam with a great... Like, the main event served the purpose. It heated up the main event for Battleground. And also set up possibly a big match, like I said, not just for Battleground, but for SummerSlam. Speaking of Battleground, that main event was made during our first segment of Raw, when Triple H and Stephanie came out to welcome, sadly, like I said, the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, John Cena. Now, Cena's kind of like been a thorn on the Authority side since he kind of interrupted Stephanie a few weeks ago. He's kind of like now on the Authority hit list. But despite that, it seemed like the Authority were trying to play nice with Cena to try to congratulate him and also announce that he is the cover star of the WWE 2K15 video game. Of course, the second game under the new franchise of the WWE 2K series. At least it's an active wrestler, unlike The Rock, who was last year's cover boy, and he was not actively on the roster at the time. Love or hate Cena, he's an active wrestler. Now, if you probably noticed that the logo of the WWE on the WWE 2K15 video game, it's the logo for the network. Now, after SummerSlam, I've been hearing rumors that that logo will be implemented. It's been slowly coming in as the new logo for the company, period. So the WWE logo for the WWE network is going to be the logo for the company following SummerSlam. And we see it tonight as that logo was used as a logo for WWE for 2K15 with an interesting shot of John Cena. Of course, it will be on PS4 and Xbox One, as well as PS3 and Xbox 360. Unless it's a UFC's game only on Xbox One and PS4. It's not on Xbox 360 or PS3 at all. UFC's recent game. So Cena's like, wait a minute. You're acting all nicey nice to me. I see your plan. You're upset as the fans that hate me. Well, then I'm the champion. Then I would rather do things the hard way than to have it your way. And Triple H is like, okay, Cena. You wanted the hard way? You got it. The main event at Battleground will be you defending the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in a fatal 4-way. With you defending the title against men you'll actually face with and team with tonight in a tag team main event on Raw. Roman Reigns, who's your partner tonight. And your opponents for tonight, and in this fatal 4-way with Reigns, Kane, and Randy Orton. So we have that main event tonight. And at the end of the main event, very epic thing happened during that main event. Before we get to that main event, we would see a man who could cash in at any time. Seth Rollins. Now, this really didn't hit me until tonight. I was talking to myself today, and I didn't mention this in my review last night of the pay-per-view. And I should have done it. I should have known this fact. That the last time someone tried to cash in on John Cena with the Money in the briefcase, they went from having a bright future to dressing up like Vince McMahon tonight. I'll get to him later. So I don't want Seth to cash in on Cena. I want Seth to cash in on anybody else. I want him to cash in on anybody else but Cena. I want Cena to lose the title first. Then have Seth Rollins cash in on the guy who beat Cena. Because if Seth Rollins cashes in, tries to cash in on Cena and loses, he'll end up like Sandow. I don't want Seth Rollins to end up like Sandow. If he tries to cash in on Cena and becomes unsuccessful like And like Sandow did. You don't want him to lose like Sandow. And become a joke like Sandow. Because they're doing so well with Seth's push. And they don't need to fuck it up by having him to lose to Cena. And hopefully don't let him be a joke like Sandow has become. I'll get to Sandow later. But first let's get to Rollins. After Cena's little promo with Triple H and Stephanie, we would see Rollins come out for a rematch from last week's Raw against Rob Van Dam. Two guys that won the contract match. And impressive showings. I called RVD the Energizer Bunny. He kept coming back, especially tonight. Both of these guys took punishment. Especially Rollins getting the brunt of the damage with the big superplex from Ambrose. Well, of course, Ambrose caused a disqualification in last week's match. But this would be a clean finish tonight following Ambrose's interference in last week's match on Raw. So I'm glad they had a rematch tonight, and they gave it a lot of time too. Great action for both these guys again tonight, and with no interference. Give these guys more chances to sign and have a good, clean ending. RVD looking good. There was a good spot involving like a Hurricanrana into the RVD basically Hurricanrana Rollins to the post. That was a cool little spot there from RVD. He still got it. He's a utility player. He's guys to get people over. He's working with younger talent and getting him over, unlike Cena. Anyway, despite all these great showings, especially trying to go for Rolling Thunder and also trying to go for the 5-star Frog Smash, he would once again be fed to the curb stomp. And unlike last week, where Ambrose interfered after the curb stomp, the clean finish, like I said, with the 1-2-3 after the curb stomp on RVD. But even though Ambrose didn't get involved during the match, he would be involved after the match. As Rollins was interviewed after his victory, Ambrose appeared on the screen. Despite apparently might be injuring his arm last night, we would have Ambrose come on the screen and once again delivering another good promo like he has done since the Shield broken up. He's like, Rollins, what you hold in that briefcase is not a contract. It's a stick of dynamite. Because every time you try to cash in that Money in the Bank briefcase, it'll blow up in your face. And as we would see in our main event, that could have been no further from the truth. I mean, you know what I mean. So, after that situation, we would have ourselves another little segment involving a face turn and possible seeds for matches at Battleground. I think we're finally going to see Rollins and Ambrose finally face off one-on-one at Battleground. And like I said, speaking of matches that could happen at Battleground, another match that could happen for Battleground, that seed was planted tonight. As Rusev came out, talking about, well, of course, with the Ravishing Russian Lana, with them talking down about America again, especially with 4th of July coming up. And as they were spewing their propaganda again about Russia and Putin, here comes Jack Swagger. Is it just me or is Swagger turning face tonight, apparently? And you've seen Coulter with his funny signs, the important list. Lana and Rusev were on that list. So they came out saying that Zeb Coulter's like, you have the freedom of speech here to speak what you believe in. Well, we have that power too. You're abusing your rights to speak your little propaganda. We'll speak ours against Russia. We the people that are we're American shall stop you. And they had a little brawl between Rusev and Swagger, with Rusev powering out after a big clothesline from Swagger. And Swagger got a massive pop tonight. Like I said, anyone that goes up against Rusev will turn themselves into a face. Especially if you're Swagger. Be very interested to see how it goes. Now, we've never seen Swagger as a babyface before. He's always been a heel in the WWE. He's never been a full-on babyface. So, we shall see what happens when Swagger becomes a babyface. Because we've seen the old good, bad guy, bad babyface scenarios. We had Alberto Del Rio, who's a great heel, turn into a sucky babyface. Orton's that same way, and of course, Cena. So we'll hope that Swagger becomes a better babyface as he has a good heel than a good heel and a bad babyface. Speaking of that analogy, a guy who was a decent heel and also a decent babyface who I thought was going to turn heel, but I think Divas' injury put everything in disarray. We would see that guy who's had a decent babyface turn, of course, referring to Sheamus, teaming with a team who also became heels when they first came in the company 5 years ago. Today was Sheamus' debut, and I think Usos' debut on that same time as heels with Tamina, who have done pretty well as babyfaces as well. The Usos against a team that I hope never turns babyface, despite the crowd reaction, referring to all three members of the Wyatt family, Bray, Harper, and Rowan. Especially Harper and Rowan coming off a great effort, despite losing effort against the Usos last night. But I think, speaking of seeds, Battleground matches are planted. Seeds are planted for matches for Battleground. I think another match is being planted. A possible rematch for the tag titles between Usos and Wyatt. Because once again, they really fed off each other well. The Usos did well against the Wyatt when the Wyatts took on Usos in this matchup. Once again, it was great power moves and great chemistry. Once again, great teamwork from both guys. And Sheamus and Bray gelled well too. Especially the last 5 minutes were very chaotic with all the big finishers and everything. It was just fast-paced, good action from all 6 of these guys. With the Usos being pummeled early by, of course, the Wyatts, especially Harper and Rowan. But the last 5 minutes was a very chaotic with flying Usos everywhere. Sheamus delivering the bro kick. But after that bro kick, Sheamus was taken out by a move by Bray Wyatt. And with one Uso flowing out of the ring, the other Uso would be found to a clothesline from Harper and a 1-2-3 victory for Harper, getting the pin on an Uso. I think I forgot which one it was. And that was Jimmy. After attempting a super kick on Rowan. And then boom, like I said, the clothesline from Harper and the 1-2-3. And like I said, this is possible seed for a rematch. Now that Harper once again pinned the member of the tag team champions, citing revenge from last night in losing the tag team title match. And who knows, maybe Bray could accept Sheamus' challenge because Sheamus has some sort of 4th of July challenge for the U.S. Championship. But as we would see later on, I think Bray has bigger fish to fry. But as we get to that scenario and a possible rematch between Usos and Wyatts, let's get down to our next matchup, a silly little handicap match that served the purpose to finally tease a breakup. Now, this whole Brie Bella creating storyline is, like, we saw Brie Bella made an appearance on Battleground. I didn't really mention that much. I forgot to mention that. But, we had that scenario last night, and then Nikki was put in a handicap match involving her and the Funkadactyls. Tough situation. The Funkadactyls had to work with it. And you can tell, once again, speaking of seeds being planted, I'm using that phrase a lot tonight. I apologize for that. But you can see that seeds are planted for a lot of things. And finally, I think we're finally seeing the seeds planted for the Funkadactyls breakup. Cameron was happy to be involved in this handicap match. Anything they're getting paid to do their job, what they are told to do, they'll do. But Naomi was kind of more reluctant to be in this 2-on-1 situation, even though the numbers were in her favor. And they won anyway, easily won with the 2-on-1 situation in their favor. But we would see these two kind of have a shoving match and almost had an altercation. But then, Cameron walked out. So I think Naomi had a great match against Paige last night. And I think she'll get a rematch eventually. But the only way, in my opinion, that Naomi can get a rematch for the Divas Championship, especially with a new Divas Champion crown tonight, as you see by the subtitle, Naomi has to get her monkey off her back. The monkey, the untalented monkey, being Miss Cameron. That's what I think. Another match possible for Battleground. Speaking of Battleground, another match was made official for Battleground. New IC champion will be crowned at Battleground. Now, Ray Barrett got injured on SmackDown. Of course, he wasn't in the Money in the Bank ladder match. And it was official that Ray Barrett is stripped of the title. And since he won a tournament for the number one contendership, what better way to celebrate Battleground than having a Battle Royal? A 20-man over-the-top rope Battle Royal. 5 guys would be named for that Battle Royal. two of the first names for that Battle Royal would face off. I think both Dallas may be involved too. He kind of had a little speech after, before the handicap match. But guys, we know in it would face off Cesaro against Kofi Kingston. Now I'm trying to think here. There was another decent matchup. Cesaro looked once again really good at coming off his match, the ladder match for the title. Kofi was in the contract match. Once again impressive, especially that springboard move. Recovery after being tossed off the ladder from Ambrose. I think I said Swagger did it, but it was Ambrose that tossed him off the ladder. And did a great little jump off the top rope, landed on that top rope and did a big jump. Instead of falling head on, like he did, like he could have. But another big, one of my favorite spots was when Kofi was going for like a big splat, like a big flying move, and got caught in midair from Cesaro and put into a backbreaker. Another funny spot that Cesaro trolled the fans on. And he had Kofi down, and he was toying with the fans, or should I say, trolling the fans, by doing the signal to do the swing. But as he was setting up the swing, he's like, yeah, I won't do it. That was kind of funny. But I'm trying to, this match had a surprise ending. But I'm trying to see what was more surprising. The fact that Kingston actually won, or the fact that the match ended on the app. That was stupid. To have the match end on the app. I've never seen that in WWE history since they've implemented the app. That I've never seen a match actually end on the app. So after the match ended on the app with Kofi getting a roll-up, Kofi would get attacked on television by Cesaro, and boy, was Cesaro pissed. This is probably a more aggressive Cesaro than I've seen lately. He just beat the fuck out of Kofi. He took him to the announce table. He even knocked out Michael Cole for a few seconds. Yay! That was cool. Anywhere to shut up Cole is a good. It's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Watching SmackDown for the network. Cheap plug. And saw DDP on it. Anyway, that's what I thought of saying it's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. DDP was as motivational almost as Bo Dallas is trying to be. Anyway, Cesaro just pummeled the hell out of Kofi. Just even delivered an uppercut in midair and beat him on the announce table, knocked him on the barricade, even tossed him out to the crowd. He just really was mad that he lost. Not just lost, but lost on the fucking app. So, but that was kind of weird. So, I think a lot of people may agree with me that this is probably one of the first matches I've seen that actually ended during the break on the app. So, there you go. Now, on to our next scenario. Speaking of guys in the Battle Royal, we would see Vince McMahon, or should I say, Vince McMahon, Damien Sandow come out. Now, I'm trying not to sound like a broken record, so I'll keep my rants at a minimal this week about Sandow being buried. But this was actually pretty funny with him as Vince McMahon. Although I hate the fact that Sandow's being turned to a joke and dressing up every week, this is probably my favorite one. And I love the way he's like, there's some great talent that I should push more, he should have said. There's some great talent. Like all these people, including Damien Sandow. I wish he said, as McMahon, I think we should push him more. I wish he would have done that. He could have done a great opportunity. He could have done more with it. Really promoted himself as this Vince McMahon. But it was kind of funny. Until Great Khali came out, another guy in his Battle Royal for the IC Championship, and basically squashed Sandow in 5 minutes. After looking good against Adam Rose last night, who had a little commercial for Twisted Tea, which would have been more funny if it was Twisted Lemonade with the whole don't be a lemon, be a rosebud scenario. And then, boom, we have Khali squashing Sandow after looking good as Paul Revere against Adam Rose last night. And it's just me and Khali got a haircut. We haven't seen Khali in a while. So there you go. Now, on the next scenario. Now, earlier today, WWE.com advertised that a former WWE champion, who is a multimedia guy, was going to come back tonight. Lots of speculation. We thought it was going to be a certain guy by the name of Chris. Well, at first, we thought that wasn't going to happen because we saw a guy named Mike, The Miz, come back. Now, Miz has been gone making Marine 4, so we kind of knew he was coming back soon. Since Summer Rae came back earlier this month, she's also in that movie as well. So we saw her come back earlier this month. And then we saw Miz finally come back tonight. Now, Miz has been underutilized lately. When he was WWE Champion back in 2010, he actually was a great heel. Great heel. A great example. I said it earlier about Jack Swagger turning face. Miz is a great example of a great heel, but a sucky babyface. He was okay as a babyface, but he's a better heel. And he played the heel nicely in this great feud back. And he said about how I went from headlining WrestleMania to not being used at all. You take me for granted. And then just as we thought that a certain guy who was rumored wasn't going to come back, bring the walls down. Here comes Chris Jericho coming out to interrupt the Miz. I thought Jericho was going to talk, but I love the way Miz said, "Oh, you're the 2012 Jericho. Who's going to not talk for 3 weeks?" I thought Miz was going to be told to shut the hell up. But instead, Miz was shut up in a different way. By a code breaker from Jericho. So after the code breaker, Jericho grabbed the mic and tried to say, "War is Jericho." Just as you're about to say that, here comes the Wyatt family. Man, oh man. This is an interesting situation. Bray Wyatt needed a new feud bad. He's done with Cena. You know what I mean? He's done with Cena, and now Cena's champ, and Cena's got a new feud. Bray needed a new feud. He's now apparently, from the looks of it, feuding with Jericho. As the Wyatt family came out and pummeled Jericho, the double team, triple team, leading to Sister Abigail on Jericho. If they don't fuck this up, especially the Hartford fans were good tonight, especially doing this when they were chanting, "This is awesome." If they don't fuck this up, this feud has tons of potentials. You have two guys who are great performers and also, to the benefit of this feud, great talkers. You got a contrast of styles. Not just contrast of styles in the ring, but contrast in speaking styles. You have Jericho, the funny guy, the pun guy, the high energy guy in this promos, and a great promo guy at that. But then you got Bray Wyatt, one of the hottest promo guys today, who's a methodical, thicky man promo guy. If they don't fuck this up, this is just going to be an epic feud. You know what I mean? You know, it's nice to see Jericho back. And like I said earlier about Rob Van Dam coming back to push young talent, that's what Jericho's doing. He's not coming back for ego. He's not coming back for money. He's coming back to help these young talent grow and push young talent and get them over. And tonight, Jericho got Bray Wyatt over by selling Sister Abigail. And like I said, possible seeds for a Battleground match. And if, like I said, if they don't fuck this up, this should be a great feud involving Jericho. He even teased it last night by coming back last night at Money in the Bank. But he came back tonight. And like I said, a Jericho-Bray Wyatt feud, that would be awesome. It will be fucking awesome. If they don't fuck it up. You know, the potential's high with these guys in the way they book a promo. So, very high hopes for this feud. Very high hopes. Now on to our next match. We have Dolph Ziggler. It's kind of weird that we had Jericho's return. And then we had two guys who recently beat Jericho in his last comebacks. Dolph Ziggler, who defeated Jericho back in 2012. And Fandango, who defeated Jericho at WrestleMania 29 last year. So it's kind of weird to see two guys that Jericho got over wrestle after Jericho's return. So we would see Dolph wrestle Fandango in this stupid storyline with Fandango in this love triangle. But I didn't mention this last night in my review of the pay-per-view, but I like Fandango's pants. That it got all over his pants, girls, girls, girls. In the styling, the textile of the Motley Crue album cover. Girls, girls, girls. Must be Motley Crue fan. A closeted Motley Crue fan. Anyway, as Fandango was taking over on Ziggy, Summer Rae would come out, and then she would come in and kiss Dolph Ziggler. Well, Fandango stood there puzzled. And then Dolph returned the favor. He kissed Summer Rae. And Summer Rae left the ring following the tonsil hockey she played not once but twice with Ziggy. Fandango would get distracted with the zigzag and the 1-2-3 victory, with Dolph capitalizing on that distraction. It was a win-win for him. Now, this scenario with this whole love triangle just got really interesting now that Dolph's now making it possibly a love rectangle. Soap opera time. That's what WWE is. Soap opera. In craziness, too, especially with our next match. Stardust and Goldust against Ryback. So speaking of guys who need new feuds, can these guys end the feud? You know what I mean? Like I've said it last night, it's not as annoying as it wasn't getting as annoying as the Los Matadors 3MB feud, but now it is getting annoying. They wrestle every week. Despite the fact they have good chemistry together. You know, they have good chemistry together, but how many times does Ryback need to lose? Okay, so Ryback will beat Cody wasn't Goldust like 10 weeks in a row or something. And now Stardust and now Cody's new alter ego, Stardust, is now returning the favor. Despite Ryback having decent showing. And last night we saw Curtis Axel wear new trunks with straps on him. He didn't wear them tonight. He wore his normal trunks tonight with no straps on him. In the likes of his grandfather Axe, and he goes Larry Axe, and his partner Ryback, Goldberg. So despite Ryback still looking good offensively, really dominating on Goldust, the Hot Tag, the Stardust, the Cook. I think Cody's embracing his character. Like Sandal's embracing his new role as a joke guy wearing all these silly costumes, playing all these characters, especially the funny Mr. Man. I'll give him credit for going along with it. Great funny Mr. Man impression tonight for Sandow. Cody's really embracing this Stardust. And it's really helping him. You know, he looked really good tonight as Stardust yet again. He's crazy as Stardust. The eyes, you know, the painted eyes, the whole face paint, the everything. Everything about the character is awesome with Cody in it. With the 1-2-3 victory after Cody's new move with the Cross Star, he calls it now, in the victory for Star and Goldust, keeping the winning ways. Now, on to our next scenario, with Paige coming out to celebrate her victory over Naomi and proving she wasn't a fluke. Ever since winning the title the night after WrestleMania. Well, let's say the woman in question that did lose to Paige the night after WrestleMania, then left the company for a while, didn't walk out like her now husband, CM Punk, of course referring to AJ. Night of returns tonight with, like I said on the subtitle, with the return of Miz, Jericho, and now icing on the cake, AJ coming back. Cue the CM Punk chants. He ain't coming back. Well, at least not now. I would have loved them to, but it's kind of weird that AJ's coming back, yet Punk isn't. You know, although they could automatically renew his contract without him knowing it, because his contract is up for expiration soon. They could just fucking renew it automatically. And they've done that with people, like I've read. Anyway, AJ was trying to play mind games the way Paige did the night after Mania, congratulating Paige, saying that I was over my head with fame and fortune. I fed it up. I ate the fame up. And Paige saw through AJ. She's like, wait a minute, AJ, I know what you're doing. You're trying to do the same thing I did. You're trying to goat me into a title match. That's exactly what happened. Poetic justice was served. As of course AJ would indeed get justice and revenge on Paige. Despite Paige looking good again against AJ, Paige getting a little bit caught up and got caught. Literally caught in a wallet by AJ. And a 1-2-3 victory. AJ's back and is the new Divas champion. I'm not too surprised that AJ won the title back tonight. In my mind, Paige is Divas champion. Yes, she had a good match against Naomi last night, but she's not getting the respect from the fans or the pop. You see, when Paige came out, she got a minimal reception. Not a big pop. But when AJ came up, massive pop for AJ. Massive pop. You mean, like, Paige is at an okay win as champion, But it's like the fans aren't accepting of her, as they were to AJ. You know, they really gave AJ heat, and in this case, a pop. And I think we may finally see a feud against AJ and Paige that we should have had after Mania before AJ went off and got married. So, seriously, I think AJ is going to bring the best out of Paige. Finally, this is the feud that should have happened months ago. Match at Battleground for sure. Like I said, a lot of matches being touted for Battleground tonight. With, you know, AJ coming back and win the title tonight. And AJ and Paige actually had some sort of personality tonight and had some okay offense before losing. You know, like I said, she had a great match against Naomi last night. But I think finally, this is the feud that will finally prove that Paige is here to stay. Like she said in her promo tonight. Because she had a decent promo. She had an okay promo as well. But I say all the naysayers, I'm no fluke. Well, AJ beat you tonight. And Paige was almost crying. Like Summer Rae did last night when she lost to Layla. So there you go. Speaking of, well, like I said, Seed's planning for Battleground. I think Seed was planning for a match at SummerSlam tonight. In our main event tonight, we would see Roman Reigns team up with the new WWE Heavyweight Champion, a man who is faster than Rey Mysterio, more powerful than a Big Show, able to make Damien Sandow into a joke and dress up like Vince McMahon, and etc. Super Cena. Although I will give Cena credit for this. He did say in his promo tonight that when D-Bry comes back, he'll give him a fair shake. Well, yes, I make fun of Cena all I want. But at least I'll give Cena credit for one thing. One thing I'll credit Cena for. Only 2 instances I'll actually credit Cena that Cena at least got D-Bry over by losing to him cleanly at SummerSlam before getting screwed by Randy Orton. And also, I've seen on Twitter a lot of people are kind of offended by the way Cena's wearing the WWE Heavyweight Championship belt around his neck. What's more offensive way to wear the belt? Cena wearing it like a scarf? Or the way Eminem wore the tag team belts around the crotches? You know what I mean? I'm giving you an example. Like the way Cena's wearing it like a necklace, but then the way Eminem wore their belt, they did it like this. You know, Mercury and Nitro. I know you can't see it. Well, I'll try my best. See? That's the way Eminem wore their belts. What's more offensive? Cena like a scarf? Or Eminem's like this? I think Eminem's more offensive. I'm not defending Cena in any way. I'm just saying that there were more offensive ways to desecrate wearing a championship. And Eminem had the more offensive way by hanging the belts around the crotches when they were tag team champions. Referring to Joey Mercury and Johnny Nitro. Or John Morrison, whatever his fucking name is. Anyway, with that out of the way, we would have a main event with Triple H at ringside watching as Reigns would team up with Cena against Orton Kane. 4-man who would fight in the Battleground main event. And I think main event for SummerSlam, like I said, touted. And this match served a lot of purposes. It served a purpose to hype up the Battleground main event between these 4 guys. And it was a decent main event for what it was despite the screwiness of the ending. But after the ending was when it really got exciting. You know, it was a decent matchup with Reigns being pummeled by Orton and Kane until getting the hot tag to Cena with double five knuckle shuffles for both Orton and Kane before Cena would deliver the FU, of trying to deliver the FU. And then Kane would get speared by Roman Reigns. Actually, Superman punch. That would have got more exciting when Cena was doing the big moves. And then Reigns came in with the Superman punch to Kane. And then Cena would get an RKO from Randy Orton before Orton and Reigns fought all the way into the back. So, with Reigns and Orton in the back, it would leave Kane and Cena all by themselves. And Kane wasn't actually the legal man. I think Orton was the legal man. So Kane would then take the opportunity to pummel Cena. He took the steel steps like he did a few weeks ago and nailed Cena with it, causing a disqualification. After nailing him with the steps, Kane would take Cena back into the ring and nail a tombstone on him. Now, Cena was out cold. Cue up Seth Rollins' music, and here goes Seth Rollins trying to cash in Money in the Bank on John Cena. Like I said earlier, I don't want Rollins to cash in on Cena unless they book him to actually beat Cena and not like what they did to Sandown, make him lose to Cena. But the omen that Dean Ambrose said that every time you try to cash in, Ambrose said that every time that Rollins would try to cash in Money in the Bank, that he was holding a briefcase of dynamite, it would blow up in his face as Ambrose would be there to follow him like a ghost to make sure that every attempt that Rollins does try to do to cash in, it would fail. And in this case, it did. As Rollins was trying to cash in, the referees were being confused. Rollins would get pummeled by Ambrose, thwarting his plan to become world champion. Now, I think this is probably what's going to happen every time Rollins tries to cash in. They're trying to keep this hyped up. With Rollins trying to cash in, here comes Ambrose to spoil the party like he did tonight, fighting all the way to the back. So, with Kane still trying to beat up on Cena, after Rollins trying to cash in failed, here comes Rollins' former tag team championship partner Reigns to come back to the rescue with a big, massive spear. Now, this is when it really got interesting. Like I said, seeds are planted for matches for Battleground, but I think a match for SummerSlam was started. Like I said, Triple H wasn't ringside as he tried to make Kane wanted to pummel Cena some more. That's when Reigns came back, and then all of a sudden, Triple H got on the apron, and that stare down. That stare down with Reigns and Triple H. That was just something to behold right there. And the fans were saying this is awesome. It looked like these two were going to go. But Triple H stepped away. Like I said, the tease is on for Triple H and Reigns at SummerSlam. I've been waiting for months about possible SummerSlam matches. I mean, they kind of accidentally spoiled Cena against Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Please don't let that match happen. Cena lost to Lesnar one time before. In 2003, Cena was not even a year young as a WWE competitor, and he had a title match against Brock Lesnar at Backlash 2003 when it was a heel rapper. They won't let you know that. They're going to make him look invincible as always. But when it comes to another match at SummerSlam, Reigns and Triple H, they've been taunting Reigns as the next big guy since Survivor Series last year, and of course at the Rumble. And now that the Shield's finally broken up and everyone's benefiting from the breakup in their own different ways, the Reigns-Triple H feud may finally happen, and the seed was planned tonight with a great stare down. They had great altercations during the Evolution Shield feud, but now it's time for their one-on-one feud to possibly take place at SummerSlam. But before that, we have Battleground. We have two matches official now. The WWE title match involving Reigns. If Reigns wins the championship against Cena, which I don't think I see happening, that will make the Triple H Reigns match more exciting if Reigns goes into SummerSlam as champion. But I don't think that will happen because I think they're going to make Cena be champion against Lesnar. So we have that match for Battleground. Reigns, Cena, Kane, Orton, official, Wade Barrett, stripped, IC Battle Royal, and possibly matches at Battleground seen from the seeds planted tonight. Paige and AJ rematch for the Divas title. Usos Wyatt rematch for the tag titles. Jack Swagger and Rusev. Bray Wyatt and Jericho. And maybe a Paige Kevin match being taunted for the pay-per-view as well. So there you go with that possible. That's my prediction for the card for the Battleground pay-per-view on July 20th. That is it for my Raw review. Probably my longest Raw review in a while. Thank you all very much for watching. A lot happened tonight. That's why this review is more as long as my usual Raw reviews, because a lot happened tonight, as you see by subtitle. Very exciting Raw tonight. A lot of seeds planned for the Battleground, and of course SummerSlam with a great stare-down between Triple H and Reigns to end Raw. And with that, like I said, you've all been attacked by the new review from Zach. Thank you again for watching. Have a great and safe 4th of July weekend, everybody. See ya. Yeah.